if I'm going to put you with Lenny DiMaria or if I'm going to put you on record with Mike Yanati.
Okay.
Because I didn't decide yet who I'm going to put you with. Now, for me, that was a win-win because I loved Lenny and I had a ton of respect for Mike. We were like brothers in the street growing up.
Right. So Mike was a made man at that point.
Well, Mike was made right about that time period or whatever. It was going to be Mike or him. Yeah.
Right.
It was right around the time that Mike got straightened out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, okay, and whatever you decide is good for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. And I left that meeting knowing that we had to start, doing our homework on John. I also knew that Nicky was going to, daha a few guys in the street because he said there's going to be a lot of work to do.
Right.
And here I am on the run saying, okay, well, now I'm going to have to be around at some point and see what I'm going to do. And then Nicky got arrested exactly a week after that conversation. Nicky got arrested in Florida. Yeah. No, he got out in 2008 and then got rearrested on a racketeering charge for gambling and then the double homicide with Robert Arena and Thomas Maranga. Nicky gets out, I think, in 2020 or 2021, something like that.
Really?
Yeah, he got a sweetheart deal. He got 15 years altogether on 2 double homicides and a gambling charge.
Unbelievable. Wow.
Yeah, he copped a plea. As a matter of fact, at that time, I was already in the program. The FBI had put me on a plane. I was coming in because Nicky was getting ready to go on trial.
Right.
And when I landed, the FBI met me on the other end. They told me that while I was in flight, Nicky took a plea.
So at that point, were you flying in to testify against him?
Yeah, I was going to fly in to testify against him at that trial because they were getting ready to go into trial and pick a jury or whatever.
Right.
And Nicky and his lawyer, they worked out a plea.
Right. Who was his nephew representing him?
I don't remember if it was JoJo who was representing him.
Right.
I know he used to use a guy named Santangelo was the last name of the guy Nicky used to use. He
Right.
might have been using JoJo, but he wouldn't have been able to use JoJo against me because it would have been a conflict of interest.
Right.
Because me and JoJo in the past, a few years prior to this, I had shot somebody in JoJo's car, and JoJo was the driver.
Down here in Tampa, when Ronnie Trucchio got pinched, that JoJo came down here to represent him, too, so I know...
Yeah, no, JoJo was definitely... And listen, JoJo was a great lawyer. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
JoJo was a smart kid. He always was smart, And, I used JoJo on an occasion or two for my situations, and... he was a smart kid. He was a good lawyer.
Right.
But for my situation, it came out because when I gave the FBI the information about all the things that I was doing,
right.
I let them know that back in, the mid-'80s, we were involved in an incident where I shot some guy in JoJo's father's car.
Well,
and JoJo and his brother Rocco were on the scene, and what happened was the guy survived the shooting, and Nicky met me the next day, and what they had to do is they found out what hospital the guy was in, and they sent one of JoJo's guys. I think Johnny Bino went to the hospital. I think it was Johnny Bino, yeah. Johnny Bino went to the hospital, I believe at the time, and he told the guy, he said, listen, he said, it's a shame what happened to you. He says, but, looks like you're going to survive. Why don't you forget about the whole thing? Here's a little bit of money, go on vacation, take your family away, forget about this even happened, and move on. He says, the funny thing about gunshot wounds is you never know, they could turn bad and, you might not make it out of the hospital.
Right.
So I took the money.
He took the hint.
The case never came to fruition. They never came and investigated me on the shooting, and that was it.
Right.
And, JoJo, the father, JoJo Sr. was mad at me at the time, of course, for shooting the guy in his car, from his car. But I had to, I had to shoot him.
Right.
The guy was running up on us with a weapon. There was nothing else I could do. But,
right.
So I had to pay my penance. Then back then, I think I had to go to Florida and
one thing I always think about, like, John Jr. and A-Light have like this rift with each other, and obviously it stems because in A-Light's book he released John Jr.'s 302s, as obviously he's cooperated, and and I mean not only on the 302s where obviously he was kind of pushing some things on John. I think he was saying some things about Mikey Scars, and he put out some information on Joe Watts and Danny Marino.
Yeah, exactly. And listen, it is what it is.
Right.
It just goes to show that everybody who walks through those federal prison doors is vulnerable.
Right.
The FBI is playing a different game today. They're looking to shut your light. Listen, I don't have an opinion one way or another about what John did, but
Right.
I know it's true. I know it's factual.
Right.
I know he did do it. Basically, at the end of the day, when he seen he wasn't going to get the deal he wanted, or maybe pressure from a family member, who knows? That's between him and his family, and that's his business.
Right.
The rift that he has with A-Light, that stems from, I guess, their childhood friendship.
Right.
Maybe it's just a little bitterness there of what's happened. But look at John. Now, I don't know what John's doing on a daily basis. I see, he's trying to make a movie or whatever else he's doing.
Right.
But as far as I'm concerned, if you're a street guy, you realize that, John didn't retire. John got chased.
Right.
There's a difference. And anybody who's a street guy is going to know what getting chased means. That means that they probably told him, listen, you got to go. Nobody's going to hurt you. For respect for your father and your uncles. Gina's a respected guy. But you're not going to be doing business no more. Those days are over. So in my eyes, he got chased.
Right.
And I read between the lines. So that means that John ain't going to be involved in anything anymore because nobody's going to trust him anymore.
Right. You're talking about Junior.
I'm talking about John Gotti Jr.
Right. So I mean, but that was my question. I mean, technically, I guess it goes back to what you were saying a while ago, that it's a different era of the mob, because by protocol, even if it was during when his father was alive, by the rule that his father was enforcing, he would have to be whacked for even doing a 302.
The minute you sit down with the FBI, whether it be for a conversation over coffee or whatever, you're putting your life at risk.
Right.
A guy in his position who was supposed to be a captain within the family, acting boss, sitting on a panel, whatever the hell he was doing, it's a death sentence.
Right.
And he knew it.
Right.
But, the chips fell where they may. He beat the case. It wasn't meant for him to go to prison or whatever it was that time. And he got away with his life, and he should be thankful. And if I was him, I would go somewhere nice and quiet and never be bothered with anybody again, because now he's got a second chance at life. I hope he makes the best of it.
Right. No, I agree with you on that. I do think, obviously, the Gotti name is kind of like when a layman in society who doesn't really know anything about the mafia, when somebody says the mafia, the Gotti name probably pops up like Al Capone's name,
Well, that's what it is. The media made, John a sensation.
Right.
And, the cases, the first case that they beat was Sammy Bortachora. From that point on, the Teflon Don stuff and all of that,
Right.
Stuff, whatever. But if you're in the street and you're a street guy, it's bad for business.
Right.
And John knew it was bad for business.
Right.
And, the old timers, they're going to resent that.
They were living in the shadows, like the
That's what we were taught. God, you're
Right.
taught from a young age that you never talk on the phone.
Right.
If you have anything to say to somebody, you say it in person. You
Right.
keep your mouth shut. You don't try to brag in front of people what you have, what you don't have, what you're doing, what you're not doing, whatever the case may be. Somebody asks you what you do, you tell them you work at whatever. You tell them whatever. Tell them you work at a dry cleaner. Tell them you work construction. What does it matter?
Right.
Well, what happens is ego gets in the way, and guys want to be known for what they're doing. And they want to be known that they got this and they're doing that. And, when law enforcement wasn't coming down and making anybody examples, everybody thought, hey, you can get away with doing this.
Right.
In the end, all the FBI was doing was just waiting for the day to come, and then they were going to just go to work, and they did. Because they got number time on their hands.
Right.
I was in a jail cell at MCC, and my cellmate was a guy named Anthony Bawat. Anthony Bawat was the captain in the Lucchese family. Mm-hmm. And me and him were cellmates. And it was Christmas time. And Anthony looks at me and he says, you know what, Drew? He goes, here we are like two jerk-offs. He goes, here we are, we're done. He goes, our friends are out. He said, they're having drinks. They're enjoying their days. He said, they're spending the Christmas with their families. He says, but unbeknownst to them, he looks out the window. He goes, see those lights on in the building across the street? He says, that's the FBI right there. He says, they never, ever go to sleep. When those people leave tonight, there'll be somebody to take their place in the morning. He said, our friends, they go to sleep. He goes, and while they're partying, these guys are getting the indictments ready. He goes, and that's the difference between them and us. They never sleep.
Right.
And it was just the writing was on the wall. He knew it, I knew it. This is what this life has come to. You can't win.
Right.
You're going to go to jail. If you don't think you're going to go to jail, you are sadly mistaken.
Well, I mean, even look at, like I was talking about earlier about Jack Garcia. I mean, look at a guy like that. I mean, that's how unguarded the mob is now. I mean, here's a Cuban-born FBI agent that was able to infiltrate the Gambino family as a Sicilian. You know what I mean?
Jack Garcia was a very smart individual.
Yeah.
I got no more respect for Jack.
Jack's a great guy.
Jack did things that guys could never ever do. You have to have nerves of steel to do what Jack has done. But all I can tell you is that it just goes to show the desperateness of the street guys who are trying to make a buck.
Right.
They're going to ingratiate their friendships with anybody who they think they can get a leg up on the ladder for, that's going to bring in money, that's going to do things for the family, because you're pressured every day as a street guy to produce